E aí, malta, toda a gente prontinha para a nossa live com a nossa convidada especial? Olá a todos, malta! Mais uma live nas nossas quartas-feiras mágicas, às 9 aqui, todos juntos no nosso canal de YouTube. E hoje é mais uma aula fantástica. Temos aqui uma oradora espetacular, muitos de vocês já sabiam. Para quem ainda não sabe, hoje vamos ter uma aula aqui espetacular com uma das nossas convidadas que já esteve connosco em eventos passados, é a Angelica Steinker. Ela vai daí dentro de 5 minutinhos. No entanto, vamos então fazer aqui as nossas amenities, open amenities, né? Como se costuma dizer em inglês, todas as questões de abertura da nossa live. Portanto, já sabem como é. Deem-nos aí o vosso feedback, escrevam aí no chat quem é que está desse lado a assistir, de onde é que vocês são, se vocês têm cão, se não têm, o nome do vosso patudo. Portanto, escrevam todas essas informações aí no chat, porque daqui a um bocadinho, quando a Angélica entrar, nós vamos querer interagir com vocês e é super importante nós sabermos de onde é que vocês nos estão a ver e o vosso nome, se têm patudo, se não têm patudo, se já foram ao nosso evento em 2018, se tiveram a oportunidade já de assistir ao evento em 2018 onde a Angélica esteve, se não tiveram, se é a primeira vez que estão aqui a conhecer um bocadinho a Angélica. Vai ser uma live espetacular hoje e eu quero vos trazer mesmo esta senhora que é de peso aqui para falarmos um bocadinho então sobre a linguagem canina e todas as coisas maravilhosas que ela nos vai trazer. Portanto, se estão aí desse lado, não se esqueçam, comecem já aí a escrever no chat que eu quero saber quem é que está desse lado. Eu preciso de saber quem está aí. Ok? Já agora, maltinha, também, não esquecer, aproveitem, peguem no vosso telemóvel, ok? Façam um story, já sabem aqui, tem aqui, taguem-nos no Instagram, @dogsummit_official, portanto, peguem no vosso telefone, façam aí um story, taguem-nos no Instagram, porque nós gostamos muito, mas mesmo muito, de ir ver quem é que nos taga, que é para a gente depois também tagar de volta, interagir um bocadinho convosco aí no Instagram, falar um bocadinho também através lá do Messenger. Portanto, façam isso, que é para nós também podermos saber quem é que está desse lado, conhecermos um bocadinho a nossa audiência e interagir um bocadinho convosco. Portanto, maltinha, eu quero ver aqui o chat a bombar, ok? Quero ver o chat a bombar. Toda a gente aí a escrever no chat, ok? É para nós sabermos quem é que estão desse lado. Também daqui um bocadinho, quando a Angélica entrar, também ser muito mais fácil de interagir com vocês. Já temos aqui a Cristina e o Lubito, de Braga, é assim mesmo, aqui a dar o exemplo, para que todos vocês também nos sigam. Depois, como é óbvio, antes de terminar então aqui estes protocolos de abertura, quero-vos deixar também aqui o pedido para vocês deixarem um like nesta live. Já sabem, ajuda-nos imenso a chegar a mais gente. É o algoritmo de YouTube vai beber estes números e quanto mais likes nós conseguimos ter nesta live, mais facilmente nós conseguimos chegar a mais pessoas com este conteúdo maravilhoso. Portanto, às 17 pessoas que atualmente estão aí a ver, deem aí o vosso like, escrevam aí no chat o vosso nome e de onde é que vocês nos estão a ver, porque daqui um bocadinho, dentro de muito poucos momentos, olha, ela já está aqui a assistir, portanto, ela já vai entrar e eu quero mesmo ter aqui pessoas para receber e dar aqui muito amor, que é para ela também se sentir que veio cá fazer a diferença. Portanto, já temos aqui algumas pessoas a partilhar. A Andreia de Pinhal Novo, olá Andreia, como estás? Tatiana Marques, do Algarve, muito bom, vamos já aqui partilhar. Olha aqui, a Andreia Padilha, do Pinhal Novo. Olá, Andreia, muito obrigado por estás desse lado. Quando daqui um bocadinho a Angélica vai entrar, eu quero que tu dizes muito amor, eu quero que vás ali para o chat e dizes muito amor para a Angélica, ok? Portanto, que é para ela se sentir valorizada. Vai ser muito bom. Tatiana Marques, da Ishiva do Algarve. Olá, Tatiana, muito obrigado por tu estares aí desse lado. Não te esqueças então daqui um bocadinho vir aqui mandar espalhar muito amor no chat quando a Angélica entrar. Rita Martins, Rita de Lisboa. Olá, Rita. Eu não sei se o teu cão também se chama Rita ou é só estás a dizer o teu nome, porque era super engraçado teres um cão chamado Rita. Se tiveres, muito original. Olá, Lucinda Marques, Maria e Chiara de Lisboa. Muito obrigado por estás desse lado, ok? Muito obrigado por estás aqui. Jéssica Gratz, de Faro. Muito obrigado, Jéssica, por estar desse lado. É um prazer estar aqui com vocês todos. Marta Oliveira, a nossa doutora exemplar. Olá, Marta, como estás? Marta, e o Jorge no Montijo. Olá, Marta. Olá, Jorge. Muito obrigado por estar desse lado. Ok, já temos aqui pessoal a tagar. Good vibes, é assim mesmo. Angélica, estás aí on the backstage. Are you ready? Are you ready to rumble? And make me a sign. Yes, yes, it is good, good. Portanto, já vamos trazer então a Angélica aqui para nós. Também temos aqui a Paula Rodrigues a desejar boa noite. Boa noite, Paula. Muito obrigado por estar desse lado. Espero que se divirtam e que aprendam muito, porque esta senhora que vem aí é um poço de sabedoria. Felizmente tive a oportunidade de a conhecer em 2018 pessoalmente e digo-vos, nunca conheci alguém tão energético, com tanto amor para dar como esta senhora. E nem sequer vou demorar muito mais tempo, portanto já vou agora mudar para inglês. Para quem assiste às nossas lives com convidados sabem que nós fazemos isto tudo em inglês, porque ela fala inglês, como é óbvio. Para quem não entende, depois pode também assistir à gravação e trazer as legendas automáticas. Portanto, without further ado, Angelica Steinker, everybody. Angelica, I will bring you in now.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. Hello.
Hi, Angelica.
Help me say hello in Portuguese.
Yeah, okay. In Portuguese, you should say hola.
Hello?
Hola. Hola. It's like in Spanish.
Okay.
Hola. Hola.
Oh, okay. Hola. Oh, that's really easy. I was making it way more complicated. Hola.
Exactly. You can say just hola, which is hello, and then you can say boa noite, which is good night.
Goodness. Hola.
Okay, we can just stay in the hola. It's perfect. So thank you very much, Angelica, for you availing your time to be here with us in this lovely evening, which is afternoon in Florida, right? It's 4 o'clock. Which actually I forgot to update our time schedule, right? Because here in Portugal we updated our time for the summertime, and I really messed that up. I'm really sorry about that, but thank you very much for you to be here. I love you very much, and it's always a pleasure to have you as an invited as a guest. Let's say like that.
Thank you for having me.
So let me just tell something to Cristina. Eu não sei, eu estou a tentar pôr aqui o nome. Eu não sei onde é que está. O nome, the name. Normally we have our names here, but the names disappeared, but I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. The matter is that we have Angelica, and I'm here, and people know me, and people know Angelica, and this is going to be a great live. So, Angelica, for starters, okay, I already have people here saying hi to you, or you can see here. Hi, Angelica, you're welcome.
Hi.
And hello, Angelica, from Andrea. They are already saying you having like, hello, hola, welcome, Angelica, from Lucinda. And they are spreading the love here on the chat for you. So, for starters, I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your story and how did you met us, and you already did an event with us in 2018 in Lisbon. Let's start soft and let's start from there. How did you enjoy our event in Lisbon, which was in November 2018? It's been a long time, right?
I thought it was amazing. I loved the whole setup that you guys had, the location and the rustic building, and all the beautiful vendors. It was an adventure. It was an amazing event. I'm sad for anybody who missed it, and I was honored to be there.
Yeah, let's just ask here if anybody that is watching this live, did you were at Lisbon in 2018, November 2018 at Dog Summit first event? If you were, just tell us there on the chat.
Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, tell us go for a thumbs up and just tell us a little bit what you thought and if you had the opportunity to meet Angelica back then. And Lucinda is already asking when it is the next event. When it is the next event? It's soon. It's going to be probably next year in 2023. We are going to organize again our Dog Summit events. We will probably, no, I'm not going to spill the beans right now. I'm not going to spill the beans, but in 2023, we will probably do another event. So in 2018 was really good, right, Angelica? Because it was in Elchis factory, which is a huge compound in Lisbon. We had like a whole area with dog talks and stands of
Yep.
the dog related products. We had like a whole big tent with workshops where you did a workshop also, and then we had like a whole,
Panels. The panels. You had
yeah, the panels
the big
exactly.
room where
And then
people
we
like
had
all
another
trainers.
room, yeah, another room where you did a seminar for us also. It was packed, it was full, there was nobody else that could get in. The securities came to us and said, this is a fire hazard, this is a fire hazard. There's no more, no more, no more. It was
Standing
so
room
funny.
only.
Yeah, there was people trying to get in because they really wanted to meet you. So it was a packed live. So it was really, really, really fun. So it was a really nice way to meet you and to taste a little bit of your knowledge because you have lots of knowledge to share, right? Lots of it. You want to talk a little bit about your story for
Sure.
those that don't know
So,
you?
so my story's kind of, I guess, a little unusual. Um, I actually got a master's degree in education, specifically mental health counseling. And I had already worked as a dog trainer, but my plan was to be a human therapist. And I ended up not liking it. So after 3 years of schooling and all this stuff, I decided, I really, I don't like the hearing the sad stories that people had been through. And what I'm really passionate about is to help dogs. So I combined my master's degree in education, mental health counseling to, help dogs. And I founded a school, and I've had this school for 20 years now. And I love what I do. I have a staff of about 20 people, and we do all kinds of fun stuff. And that's pretty much the story.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The school that you were talking about, it was Courteous Canine, right?
Yes.
That's your school. I'm going to share the screen here so people can
CourteousCanine.com if anybody wants to check it out. But
exactly. I'm
there
going
it is.
just to
Yep.
put here the link
And
in
we're
the
getting
chat.
ready to do a new website. So if you look at it again in about a month, you'll see the new website. Tell me what you think, because we've put a
Perfect.
lot of
We
work
will.
into
We
the new
will. That's
website.
amazing. Always new renovation. So this is the
Yeah.
actual site for now of the Courteous Canine. We can have here a little bit of all of the services that you can have. You can have classes. You also do some pet sitting, dog play, and dog care, and you have a good blog full of lots of lots of information here that is like amazing, amazing. It's like a little library where people can just come over here and learn a lot. That's really good that you can have a blog and you can share some information. And then you have also always here the staff member and all of the testimonials. And if you want to know a little bit more about Angelica, that's a lot of her story here. You can check it out. So one of the things that we would like to ask you, it's about your certification, right? Because most of the professionals that we normally bring here from Dog Summit, we normally talk about Pet Professionals Guild, the PPG,
Yeah.
and you were one of the founders, right?
Yeah, I was a founding member. I was on the steering committee originally, and I was heavily involved in creating it. It was really fun, and I think it's a great organization. Um, I think it's the best one that we have here in this country, and I have a PPG certification. You asked about my certification, so I have the PPG. Formed another organization called PPAB, and I have their behavior certification, behavior consulting, and then I have IAABC and a third one through AABP, which
That's
is
a lot of them.
yeah, it's James O'Hear, Cassie, Companion Animal Sciences Institute. He had a certification, and I got that also at some point. So,
Perfect.
for my 3 certifications.
Yeah, that's a lot. I was trying to check it here. So you said the PPG, which is Pet Professionals Guild. You have the AABP, which is Applied Animal Behavior Professionals, right?
Yep.
And you have the other one that from Jane.
IAABC, International
IAABC.
Applied Animal Behavior Consultants.
IAABC. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to put here the link so people can check it out, which
Cool.
is IAABCfoundation.org, and people can just check it out a little bit about this, so
Awesome.
they can learn a little bit more about this whole certification. Because here in Portugal, being a dog trainer, it's still something not regulated, and there's no institutions here in Portugal that can certify you as being a professional worth working. So that's one of the main reasons why we always try to get people that has outside or international certification, because there's no certifications here in Portugal, and because this is not a regulated um, uh, this is not a regulated profession, that anybody can be a dog trainer, and we can go online and we just search dog training and anybody can be a dog trainer. There's lots of bad dog trainers, and then when people seek help, what they have a bad experience, and then they go down the hill, right? Because they don't think that they should invest in a professional because they had 1 or 2 bad experiences. So we have Lucinda here saying, yes, unfortunately, right? Yes, exactly, Lucinda.
Here in America, it's sadly the same thing in the sense that, yes, we have certifications available, but it's completely voluntary. So it's not required. So it's still kind of the same problem. My county, so, we have the United States, and then we have states, and then we have in the states, we have little counties. My county has regulated dog trainers. So in my county, if you work as a dog trainer, you have to register with the county. And the idea is that if you then harm a dog, that you could lose your license to then work in that county. So I'm pleased to say that, that's the first in the world to my knowledge, but it's also not really enforced yet. They're still kind of trying to figure out, who's registered, who's not registered, and it's a process. So far, we dog trainers that are certified and want to move the profession forward have not gotten the results that we had hoped yet.
Yeah, the recognition, right? But still, it's a step forward. It's still a step forward. We here in Portugal, we are actually discussing lately the possibility, because our neighbor country Spain already did that, which is having a license to have a dog, and it includes a basic training and socialization for dog owners to know how to train the basic, okay, of how to have a dog. And we are discussing this here in Portugal to start to see if it's possible to do the same here. But that's on the dog owner or dog tutor side. We're still not moving anywhere with the professionals. So that's something that here in Portugal we need a little to address. But even so, most of the professionals that we have here want to know a little bit more, and then when they do They go outside for America and for the UK, which has the best institutions, as which in the UK we have the MDT, like the International Modern Dog Trainers, probably you
Yeah.
already know as well. But then the best ones are from there, America, which is the PPG, the EMD, the APDT also, which is the Kazi also, which you were also in the Kazi. I'm also going to put here Kazi Institute, so
Yeah.
people can just check it out, which is also a must-have if you want to professionalize your dog training. You have to check this out because these are the best institutes to follow and to get knowledge from. So that's amazing. And a little bit of your story that you already addressed. So you wanted to be a human therapist, but then you end up being a dog trainer because
Yeah.
you actually love dogs and you wanted to work with them. Yeah, tell us a little bit of your beginnings.
So, in the beginning, when I started, there wasn't really anything that could help me, right? Like, I would have loved to have Companion Animal Sciences Institute or PPG or, any of these things when I started, but they weren't available. So, I just read every book I could get my hands on, try to make friends with famous dog trainers. I was lucky enough to, become acquainted with Jean Donaldson and Sue Sternberg and a lot of other really famous trainers. I would like, ask people to mentor me. I do phone calls with them and do, because it's like the internet wasn't like as uh, readily available as it is today. And I just learned by whatever means I could. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to go towards science and understanding operant conditioning, understanding classical that we now call respondent conditioning, to the highest level that I could really be as effective as I could. And then, of course, most recently, it's been so fascinating, so much research on emotions, on the mammalian brain, and of course, also on dogs. And it's just so awesome to be a dog trainer. I don't understand why anybody wants to do anything but be a dog trainer or a dog behavior consultant because it's so interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, lately the science has contributing a lot to
Mhm.
understanding a little bit more the human behavior and also other animals. And it's really nice to have this science branch that accompany us, that support us in order to know if we are doing the right thing instead of doing one thing that we say here in Portuguese, which is a shiologia, which is the science of I'm thinking that this should work and we do this because we think it should work. No, we have the knowledge, we have the science to do the right things and we don't need to guess it out like most of the old professionals in training did. I already shared a little bit of our story with Lubito because we had lots of bad experiences with bad trainers in the past, and that was what motivated us to get more knowledge and better knowledges. So it was really an evolution in the sense of me understanding more Lubito, which provide us a better understanding of their needs, and in return we also managed to have a better relation with him because we provided more attention to his needs. So I think the basic thing that we've learned on the basis of the relations that we have with our dogs, it's understanding what they need, and that means understanding their language, right?
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, and that's something that I absolutely adore is helping people learn about, dog body language and particularly consent testing. We can ask dogs questions. I mean, we have this great thing now with the button communication that's, all over TikTok and social media. But aside from button communication, we can talk to our dogs without buttons all the time by simply observing their body language and changing one thing in the environment and seeing how they respond to it. And when they respond to it, they can say yes, no, or maybe. And we need to listen and use that information to be better dog parents and to be, of course, better trainers and dog behavior consultants.
That's amazing. Like you said, somebody thinks that teaching our dog to communicate with buttons, it's the highest level of training or relationship that a owner can have with their animal. But that's completely the opposite, right? I think the highest level of relationship that we can have with our dog is to communicate with him without any apparel, right? It's just direct communication when we look at our dog and we instantly know what he needs or what he's trying to tell us. And that, I think, that's the highest level of relationship that we can have with our dog. But most of the people here in Portugal still believe, and I'm not saying that is the people that are here watching our live, because if they are here on us Wednesday night watching us talk, it's because they really appreciate knowledge and they wanted to get better. But most of the people that has a dog and has problems that need to address, they think that their dog has to be trained. And one of the things that here in Dog Summit we try to provide is to say, okay, it's not the dog that has to be trained, it's the owner that needs to learn how to communicate with the dog. So because that's the basic thing. If you cannot communicate with a dog, there's no not flow of communication. You will never have a positive relationship with him because you don't understand him, right? So that's why we asked you to address this topic that we are going to do, a masterclass, right? On language, communication, and emotion. So
Yes.
it's going to be amazing. Do you want to talk a little bit about it? And what motivated you to address this topic with us?
I think dog body language is everything. I mean, whether you want to do something simple like teach a dog a trick, or you want to modify an emotional state, you have to ultimately understand what the dog is communicating. And more importantly, you need to be able to have fun ways and smart ways and playful ways and accurate ways to communicate that to the dog parent. So the dog parent can be empowered and can understand what it is their dog is saying and make better decisions, since that's what we do as dog parents, right? We make decisions for our dogs.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Um, I was just reading here on the chat that Lucinda said, Jean Donaldson, love her book Culture Clash, read it twice already. Every dog lover should read it. Did you already read it? Of course you did, right?
Donaldson, woo! She's awesome.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Maybe we can have her here on Doc Summit lately in the future. Maybe we can. Let's see. So I didn't read it yet, the book Culture Clash, but I know that it's a major book and it's like the pillar of, if you want to know more about dog training, you have to have this. This is like a must read,
It's
right?
it's it's a beautiful book, and what she fundamentally explains is it kind of fits with the whole dog body language thing, because when you don't understand where dog's coming from, you have this clash, and that's why she named it culture clash. It's this misunderstanding that occurs, that this human has an agenda and then the dog has an agenda, and it doesn't mesh. And so it's really a beautiful work.
Yes, it is. And again, we are already talking again about communication because it's the basic thing. If you need to know how to talk with your dog, first of all, if you don't know how to talk with your dog, and when we say talk, it's like understanding, because you already did the experiment of being with somebody who was just trying to do like the silence challenge, not talking, but we talk a lot with our micro expressions, with our body, and with our face, with our smiles, or lack of one, right? So these are all cues that we need to understand. Last week we did an event here on Dog Summit where we addressed exactly that, the body language signals, the basic ones that we addressed, which was the mouth, the eyes, the ears, the tail, the fur, where the fur and the back and on the in the end in the beginning of the tail, where it gets aroused, or he gets a lot of emotion. He bumps up the fur, and then the whole body as a whole, right? Where if the body is stiff, if the body is more fluid, we can check those things, and then we can trigger an understanding of the whole dog, of what he's feeling, of what he's trying to communicate to us. And that's the main thing. When we start to apply those things, our relationship with our dog just turns 180, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. But, I'd like to add that, what you were describing, that's all true. But what's so fascinating about dog body language is that the exact same signal can mean the opposite depending on the context. So it's like when you said that the
Can you
hair
repeat
on
that,
the
please?
back. So
Can
like
you
the
repeat from the beginning?
piloerection.
Can you
hear me?
repeat from the beginning?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you repeat from the beginning? Because I just wanted to write it down.
Oh, sure, yeah. So what I find so fascinating about dog body language is that the same thing, the exact same thing, can mean two entirely different things. So, I was saying that when they get a piloerection, the hair raises on the back of their neck. That can be a sign of arousal, but it can also be part of play. It can be a sign of reactivity and certain problems that may occur, but it can also be a sign of happiness. So you always have to look at the individual body part and then zoom out, look at the whole dog, and then consider the whole context, and then consider what you know about that dog, because there can be individual differences. I know dogs that consistently have piloerections when they play, and that it's not a sign of trouble at all. Although, if you don't know that dog, it wouldn't be irresponsible to consider that it's a problem. Another, of course, much more famous example is the tail wag, right? We think of tail wags as friendly, but if you're a professional trainer, especially if you're a dog behavior consultant, you know that that's a huge problem. You hear all the time clients will say, but his tail was wagging. And what I love to do is to video the dog from the front so the dog parent can see a completely different angle, and they'll go oh my goodness, that's not friendly at all. I thought my dog was being friendly. And no, it's an agitated tail wag. That dog is actually, displaying stress.
That's an amazing point of view that you were saying, the perspective of the owner, right? Because normally the owner is with the leash, and if the dog is reacting, let's say, to a stimuli or to another dog that's probably in front of him, normally the perspective of the owner is from the back of the dog. And so the main thing that they are trying to look, it's like the arousal, the piloarousal that you're saying, and then the tail. Sorry?
They have the worst perspective.
Exactly, yeah, because they don't see the face of the dog.
Good job. They really can't.
Yes. So, and that's really nice that you are saying, okay, let's just show it in the front. So look at what other people or other dogs are looking at your dog, and we're like, oh, I didn't know. Man, that's amazing. That's one big good thing, that when Lubito started with his episodes of aggressiveness towards other dogs, at the beginning, I was like that. I was saying, it was nothing. It was just the other dog was being a silly guy, and Lubito just reacted a little bit, and the other dog, and other people that were around were saying, no, Lubito got really, really stressed out and growly and rah! And I said, oh, I didn't notice that. And then only after I started to looking at the whole dog and starting to seeing the before that happening, the stiffness and the way that he was the stance of him, like that's when I started realizing from the back, because I still didn't have the perspective from the front, from his face, and the ears getting a little bit more into forward, like the forward ears. And that's when I started understanding what was really going on his mind and on his head. So
Well,
that's really nice. Sorry.
and then if I may interject, it gets even more complicated because then you have the individual differences, right? So your dog might be very quiet. I mean, just saying this now, I have no idea if it's true, but one dog might be very, very quiet. And so they may just like raise their head, and that's a huge sign of stress. And that is so easy to miss. That, like I've worked with dogs where you literally don't see the stress except that like they widen their stance a little bit. Oh, how do you expect a dog parent to see that? It's incredibly difficult. It really takes a trained eye. So, it can be so difficult to read dogs. It's really something that requires skill and science, but also there's an art to it.
Exactly. So this masterclass that we are going to have is going to be really good for dog owners, dog tutors, and also dog professionals that want to get their knowledge the best way possible in order for them to help other tutors or their clients, right? So it's really
That is
an amazing tool for them.
That's my mission, and I have set out to do that, and I've done it previously, so I should be successful this time too.
You will. We have a comment here from Margarita, which she said, they also know us through the way we talk to them.
Yes, that again has two sides. So they hear our voice, our tone, and the emotions that are carried in our voices, but also their voices, right? Like the way that they vocalize a bark or a moan or a growl or a grunt, yawning. I mean, all these things are important vocalizations, and they have to be considered.
Exactly. That's a cool thing that normally we see. It's when the people have a dog which is a little bit bored, and the dog just destroys something or does something that people don't like it, and then when they arrive home they say, oh, he knows he's been a bad boy, he has that guilty look, right? But normally the dog just is reacting to the owner being like stressed out instead of the actual guilt, right?
I think that that's probably true most of the time, but I do wonder if dogs, and I say this only to professionals, anybody who's not a professional, just cover your ears, don't listen. I think it's possible that dogs may experience guilt. I don't think that they have like a structured morality, but we know that they have a sense of fairness. And so I think it's possible that maybe they experience guilt. We do know that they experience love, right? Burns, the researcher Burns, Berns, did fMRI studies on dogs and had them gaze at their parent, and the same part of their brain lit up as in humans. That is considered to be the area of love. So they have not looked at guilt. I would say, if you have a non-pet owner relationship with your dog, I think it might be possible. Like, here's an interesting story. I have a new puppy, and of course he has those really horrible sharp teeth, that hurt like crazy. And when he meows me, I'm like, like it hurts. And my other border collie, who's highly empathetic, he's like, oh my God, mom's hurt. And he gets upset, like he hurt me. Like, I'm wondering, does he have maybe some sort of a guilt response just because I said, ow? He feels potentially, upset on some emotional level. And I don't know what that is. And I can't wait for people to research it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you're saying Gregory Burns. I researched a little bit, and he has a TED talk
Yeah.
talking a little bit about that, how dogs love us, and you can just research a little bit.
Yes.
Dr. Gregory Burns, I'm just going to put this on the chat so people can just take a look a little bit of
And
his work.
his book is How Dogs Love Us, and the book talks about the study that I mentioned.
Perfect. Yeah, we can have here the dog talk, the TED talk, the TED talk where he talks a little bit
Yeah.
about exactly that, so people can just go and check it out because I believe it's a wonderful talk and he's a wonderful researcher. I also have here because we are trying to get him also to do something here with us in Dog Summit. I don't know. I think we already talked about this, which is Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. He wrote a book saying how dogs know when their owners are coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And
Yeah.
he talks a little bit more about the way that dogs can communicate, can anticipate their owners through the morphic fields and quantum physics, which is really nice. I have here the book also, but it's over there. But it's a really amazing that because he goes into very extensive detail and he did a lot of experiments with lots of dogs in the UK where he explains scientifically how this is possible because dogs are able to talk to us mentally. So even that's a higher knowledge, like completely out of the blue. But it's amazing how it explains how can dogs anticipate their owners coming home, not because of the clue, not because of the scent, not because of the noise, just because of their feels. And that's really correlated with something that you talk about, which is feelings, right? And emotions in their dogs.
Yeah, there's so much that we don't know. And I used to have a horse, and like the people at the barn told me all the time, they said he knew you were coming. And we never could figure out how he knew I was coming, but he'd be like laying in his stall, taking a nap, being all chill, and then he'd like get up and they'd be like, ah, that's what he does before Angelica gets here. And then sure enough, a few minutes later, I'd drive down the driveway. So I think it's fascinating to look at stuff like that. So I'm really glad you're going to have him present, right?
Yeah, we are just finishing the details, so let's not jump the horse. But we are
Oh, okay.
finishing the details to have him here, and this is the book. And dogs that know when their owners are coming home. So everybody that really wants to know a little bit more about this is like an amazing book to read. And there's a Portuguese version, not a Portuguese, but a Brazilian version of it. And we know the person that is sharing these, which is Claudia Vassal in Brazil, and we are coordinating with her maybe to check if we can just bring some books over here to Portugal while there isn't a Portuguese version. So let's see what we can have about this. But then let's focus on our thing here, which is the language, canine language, and emotions, which is the main focus of the masterclass that we are going to have here with you. I've checked it out here, the details of the masterclass that we are going to have with you. And let me check because we are saying it's a masterclass, it's a masterclass, it's a masterclass. It's not a masterclass. It's like almost like a whole course on language and emotions because it's going to be three classes, not one, not two, but three. It's going to be one per week, right? And it's going to be a three part course, which I already have here. The topics we are going to talk about: body language signals, distant increasing behaviors, distant decreasing behaviors, observing, and play signals. Yeah, that's really nice. You want to talk a little bit about this?
Sure. So, it kind of dovetails, and throughout the class, I'm really trying to focus a lot on consent and keep bringing it back to consent because it's so important that we really communicate that to, anybody that has any contact with dogs. Dogs can say no, and we need to listen. And so distance increasing signals are no's, and distance decreasing signals are yeses. And then, of course, there's also a category that we call conflicted, which is like a maybe, and that's also a no. So there's a yes, and then there's a no, and then there's a maybe, which is also a no.
Exactly. I'm just going to put here on the chat so people can read a little bit about the description that you send us. I'm just going to highlight it here. So oops, it doesn't fit all. So it just say learn how dogs communicate. Yes, no, and maybe. Absorb the complexity of canine communication and the concept of consent. Acquire the ability to identify patterns of canine communication, behaviors such as distance increasing and distance decreasing. Canine communication is the most fundamental part of any dog training or behavior consulting interaction, and yet it is the most easily misunderstood by both professionals and clients. Enroll in this masterclass and learn how to change the one dog and one person at a time. Dogs are talking all the time. Join us and learn how to see what they are saying. This is an amazing description of what people will learn in this amazing 3-part masterclass, which I'm going just to copy here, which is going to be the outline, so can people see a little bit about. So I don't know if I did it rightly. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So perfect. So what do you think, in your opinion, it's the best thing that people should go home with of this masterclass and of this talk? The main thing, the main focus that you really wanted to share with people.
Listen with your eyes. And I've been asked when I do consults with really severely dangerous dogs that are, biting so hard that they're breaking bone. People have asked me, well, are you scared? And I say, honestly, no, because number one, I do take safety precautions. Like I don't tell the owner to drop the leash or let the dog loose. But most importantly, I'm listening to that dog throughout the entire consult. And I'm with everything I'm doing, with literally every breath I'm taking, with every, adjusting in the seat, every little thing I'm doing, I'm paying attention to the dog and watching how they're affected by that and whether they are okay with it. And the arm breaking dog, I pretty much had to, sit in the corner, not breathe a whole lot, shallow breathing, keep my shoulders rounded and, not ever squaring up, and no eye contact, and no absolutely sudden movements unless I wanted my arm broken. And as long as I did all that, I was perfectly safe.
So you read the language that the dog was giving you, and you would adjust accordingly. Like you said, no eye contact. You were in your corner, no sudden moves, because you knew that the dog, if you did any of those things, the dog might get on you right away,
now,
right?
I had the owners have him on leash and then also have him on a waist leash, so that even if they dropped the leash accidentally, I would still be safe. But I didn't want to upset him, right? I'm trying to build a relationship with him. I'm hoping that at some point he may trust me. Well, how is he going to trust me if I'm annoying him or scaring him or, upsetting him during the meetings? So it's just a win-win-win when you listen with your eyes.
Exactly. So many of the people that are here, probably they don't know how can they enlist in your course, because we already closed our inscriptions in our academy of our community. But for those that don't know, how can they get to know you and to be enlisted in this amazing masterclass that we are going to have? It's going to be on the 2nd day of June. So that's going to be the first part. And if you want to check out any informations on that, there's the link. I'm going to just to make it available here, pin message for everybody to check it out. So if you want to know a little bit more about it, just check out that link, and then you can see all of the informations regarding our academy and regarding our community. Angelica is always doing an amazing stuff with us, and we highly appreciate your time. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's not going to be the last thing that we are going to do, because we are already planning another course. Right? Do you want to spill the beans right here?
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
definitely.
tell everybody that what we are.
Oh, we're talking about doing play therapy, right? So that's a huge part of my work. As a matter of fact, I did a consult yesterday, and I told the parents, I said, please, 5 times a day, play with this dog, because play is therapy. So, you look at like human therapy, and play is used to change human behavior. So not only is it used with children, but fascinatingly, humans that are aggressive with their children, one of the most successful strategies for them becoming less aggressive with children is for them to be assigned play. So play is a beautiful incompatible to fear. It's a beautiful incompatible to shyness. It's a beautiful incompatible to anger. And so I am an advocate of play therapy.
Exactly. That's an amazing topic. That was the topic that we brought in 2018, remember? And it was packed. People really wanted to learn a little bit more. So I hope that we can always also fill up a whole Zoom room for you next. It's going to be 2nd of June that we are going to do this amazing course on language and emotions. I don't know if anybody has questions. I've been just blasting out here the chat with lots of information about your masterclass. But if anybody has questions to give to Angelica, just get on board the opportunity and just write it down here on the chat so we can ask her, and you can have the opportunity to talk a little bit with her. And again, Angelica, it's been an amazing journey since 2018, which was the first event of Dog Summit, which you were there. I will never forget that you were on the first event of our amazing journey. That after that event, we did the whole tour on Portugal. We only did a couple of them because the pandemic hit. But then now we are bringing back this online community and this online academy, which is going to be great. And you are always a part of our initiative. So the first time that I said, hey, Angelica, we are going to do an online academy. Would you like to join us? You were like the first one to jump in. And I highly appreciate that. And thank you very much for that. Helena Correia,
Thank
boa
you
noite.
for what
How
you're
are you?
doing. You're changing the
Sorry?
world. You're changing the world.
Yeah, just go for it. Yeah, just tell us a little bit what you think about Dog Summit.
I love it. You know what? Another thing that was so cool about Dog Summit that popped into my head was the art. You guys did such an amazing job of bringing so many different things into the summit, and I really loved that. I loved the panel discussions. I told you I loved the vendors. I mean, there wasn't a thing that I didn't like about it. It was extremely well organized. I remember the doggy potty signs. Do you remember the doggy potty signs? They were so cute.
Yes. So if you weren't in that event, we also we did like the toilets for the dogs to poop and pee, and it was like a little bit of grass. It was like
Yeah,
real grass. We didn't buy
yeah,
fake grass. We bought like that real good grass, like the carpet, and we cut it a little bit. We put it like a sign, and there was a
yeah,
lot of dogs using them.
yeah.
Actually, after the event ended, of course, our agreement was just to clean up. Of course,
Mhm.
clean up your mess. So we actually we didn't we completely forgot to remove the doggy potties. So
Yeah.
we only clean up inside of the pavilions. And then we got a call from the space owner, the manager, saying, "Oh, just to say that you forgot to clean up the doggy toilets." And I was already starting to apologize, and he said, "But don't worry, they work like a charm. We are keeping them." We are keeping them. And actually, after a couple of months, I went there, and they kept the idea, because they are a place that receive lots of dogs, so it's
Mhm.
really nice. So we have people getting into our live, which is Sandra. Hola, Sandra, how are you? She only started the live right now, but then you can watch the repetition. If you have any questions for Angelica, ensure now, just write it now. She's saying hello, Angie. Just write it there. If you want to ask anything to Angelica, just jump for the opportunity, because
I love
she's
questions.
with us.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, people are a little bit shy today, but I hope that they can interact a little bit, because a fortnight ago, with Malena Di Martini, you know how the separation anxiety theme,
Yeah.
like lots of stress with dogs, with that problem, and they were completely bombarding the chat with questions. So really was hoping that people wake up a little bit and just have some questions here for you, so that they can interact with you a little bit. So Sandra, let's hear you a couple of questions from you. And Angelica, tell
Yeah.
me a little bit of your experience training dogs here there in Florida. How do you feel that it's different from other countries? How do you feel that there in Florida? Are you more at ease with the training? How do you think that the training is evolving a little bit there in the United States regarding to other countries?
Well, in terms of my school, in the 20 years that I've had my school, I've seen a lot less choke chains, a lot less prong collars, and a lot of dog owners moving more towards kindness and away from the harsher training. Um, in my specific area, it's kind of like the more densely populated areas are generally more educated, and the rural areas are less educated. And that's my experience in Florida. But then you have to look at the whole country. Like the East Coast and California can sometimes be more progressive and have better quality training. But it depends. You get good trainers and problem trainers everywhere. So
Yeah, I think that it's the same here in Portugal. And when we go to the cities, we have more conscientious, conscientious persons and
mhm,
tutors, people
mhm,
that have more conscience of dog well-being, dog welfare. But then when we move a little bit to the interior, we see that lacking, and people are more relaxed when regarding to their dogs and their dogs' well-being. And
mhm,
we can still see some chaining here in Portugal, which is something that we are addressing as a community, and also as a company, because our social responsibility. We have a dog movement, which is quebra corrente, which is translated in English is to break the chain.
mhm.
So we address that with the knowledge of the tutors. Like we try to explain tutors why it's not good for them to have the dog in that situation. And then again, we have this approach to teach the owner instead of blaming the dog, or instead of trying to train the dog. No, we try to teach the tutor their basic needs, and how the tutor can handle the situation the best way possible. And I think that's the way we need to go forward, right? We need to explore a little bit more the knowledge. We need to give more to the people the knowledge, in order for them to learn how to get the best out of the relationship with their dogs. Because some people normally here they have the dogs, but they don't know what to do with their dog. So understanding their needs, understanding how to communicating with them, that's first step. But then we can go towards other steps, which is play therapy and play training, which is associate the playness with another goal, which is provide, which is to provide a knowledge for the dog and to provide education for the dog, right? It's more a lot about that. So I think we are evolving. We can see that in the last couple of years that we are evolving, but I think we still have a lot of work to do. So probably it's the same in there, right?
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Yep. It's getting better, but it's not, the progress isn't fast enough if you ask me or the dogs.
Yeah, yeah. So I think initiatives like this are great, and we already have here, like say Marta. I can't wait for the masterclass. Marta, she's one of the persons that are already inside of our community and inside of our academy. Thank you, Marta, for being there, and she will probably have the opportunity to be with you on the masterclass. And
There's a
she's already,
question.
yeah.
There's a question.
The question. Thank you, Marta, for the question. I have an 8-month puppy that recently started being very vocal and growling while playing with very energetic dogs. Not sure if he's just excited or is it a sign of early aggression. Any thoughts?
Yes. I would look at whether this is an arousal issue. So, what we like to do when we educate people for our daycare is that play occurs in waves and the arousal will go up. And then we, as the person who are regulating the play, we, as the person who are the dog parent or the coach or the trainer or the behavior consultant, we help the wave come down again so it gets calmer and then it goes up again. And if we don't regulate those waves of play, the waves are going to go up and then you're going to get a dog fight. Then you're going to get trouble. So what it sounds like to me is an 8-month-old puppy, that's, adolescence. They don't have a lot of self-control. I would really be calling that dog out of play, letting him go back in, calling him out, letting him go back in, calling him back out. Heavy reinforcement for coming out of play, and then try to get maybe calm behaviors. Can you sit? Can you be calm for a moment? And then go and play again. We do the same thing in dog sports. We amp the dog up and then we calm them down, and we amp the dog up so that they learn to deal with the arousal. It's the same thing in play. They need to be able to handle that arousal. Awesome question. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, it had to come from one of our members, right? So this is the type of good members that we have that are eager to learn. And Marta, I always said she's the perfect tutor. She's the perfect example.
We love you,
And
Marta.
sorry.
We love Marta.
Yeah, we love her. So Lucinda, she says she's also very eager for the masterclass, and Sandra says that she's ready to learn. So that's an amazing feedback that we are having here from the audience. So uh, she already replied, Marta. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. That's an amazing reply. Thank you very much, Marta, for your amazing question, and thank you, Angelica, for an amazing answer. So I think we are going to end this live in a couple of minutes, but then I'm just wanted to tell you how much I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate your work and the way that you are so eager to help good projects like us to provide the knowledge for the people and provide the knowledge for the dog tutors to improve the relationship that they have with their dogs. And that's the amazing thing, like an amazing thank you from us to you, because without people like you we would never do an amazing job like we are trying to do.
Awesome. So somebody's replied,
Yeah.
I have the same issue with
Oh,
Kiara. Some dogs become very uncomfortable with the growling, others don't and enjoy the playing. I want to speak to the vocalization. with what Lucinda is mentioning. So some dogs, this goes to the individual differences. Some dogs have like a play growl that's like really low. We used to have a dog at daycare. I would joke and say he had like an exorcist growl, but he was very friendly. Like the dog would walk up and he'd go, "Eh," and it sounded horrible. And it was interesting. Most dogs understood that it was his play growl, but most humans became very concerned. But everything depends. And if they're off leash and they're playing and they're in a group, they might feel more comfortable with a dog that's a little nerdy. But in an on leash environment, this can be a really, really big issue. So again, what I would look at is the precursors. What happens before the nerdy growling? Can you get some play in there? Can you get a fun interrupting thing that happens? Machine gun treats, like rapid fire, boom, 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 boom. Just have something happy happen that redirects the dog prior to that nerdy growling, so you don't have that happen in the first place. Then you don't have to deal with the other dog that's like, wait a minute, is that not a good growl or is that an okay growl, right? Because we don't really want those moments to happen where the dogs are asking the question like, is that okay or not? Because that's where something unfortunate could happen. That's where a decision could happen that would be, unhappy for.
We have the follow-up here. She said, should I interrupt the play when she keeps growling, even if the other dog don't mind? I think
I would say yes, but I would want to interrupt before it even happens. Lucinda, look for the precursors. What happens right before the growl? If the growl is all you've got, yes, then interrupt it. Like just call the dog out of play, redirect. But really what you want to do is figure out what happens before. And there's going to be some stuff that we're going to talk about in the class that may really help for this kind of thing too. So there's a game that I have in the presentation that I will say, Lucinda, this is for you.
Perfect. So Lucinda, you already know you have to be she's already in the community. Thank you very much.
Yay!
I didn't have the time to memorize all of the names. I'm really sorry, but Christina, she's here, she's helping me. So we have Jessica also here.
Yeah, Jessica has a question, right?
Yeah, Jessica Gratz said, my 4-year-old English Bull Terrier keeps walking away, tail down, from our 2-month-old puppy and did bark him when he gets too annoying. What does that mean? Is he scared or jealous?
Great question. I love this question. So exciting because 2 months old, right? That's an important piece of information. Thank you for putting that in there. So you have an adult, mature dog, and then you have this 2-month-old puppy. So remember we were talking about consent earlier in here, and the whole presentation is all going to be, the whole masterclass is going to be about consent. So what you have is a scenario where the Old English Bulldog Bull Terrier is likely saying no, and then you have a 2-month-old puppy that doesn't understand the concept of no. So what you're going to need to do is have the puppy on leash, tethered to you, or dragging the leash, so that you can easily interfere. That the moment the Bull Terrier is saying, no, I'm not comfortable, and no can be very subtle, like walking away, or even before walking away, a head turn away. And that's when you want to get that puppy and gently guide the puppy away. You can give the puppy some cookies, you can play with the puppy, but teach the puppy that when the other dog says no, you want to move away. And the key here is that you want the puppy to ultimately learn that when the Bull Terrier says no, to move away, rather than the no becoming a no, becoming a no, becoming a no, because the puppy isn't listening, right? So I want to again say it's very normal for a 2-month-old puppy to not listen. That's why you want that dog to be dragging the leash, or you want the dog to be umbilical corded to you so that you can interfere and help protect your 4-year-old, because you don't want your 4-year-old damaged by this ill-mannered puppy who's just being a normal puppy.
Yeah, it just needs to learn the concepts, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the mature dogs don't have the mindset or the time to educate the, like, you
No,
have to have some manners, like, and
and they
that can,
shouldn't have to. They shouldn't
yeah,
have to, right?
it's not their
We should
job,
help.
right?
It's our job to help.
Exactly. And Sonia saying so true. Perfect. So I think the thing that we should take from here is like, uh, on our masterclass or our small course on canine communication and emotions that we are going to address here, that we can learn the precursors of all of these situations, is because we are doing this spread out during 3 weeks. We are having you are going to be company. My English is failing. Sorry, you are going to be interacting with the people from the
Yeah.
masterclass through our Facebook group, and people who are going to have work to do with their dogs, and you are going to comment on that work, and then on the next class you are going to address all of those works, right? So that's going to be an amazing thing. So
We have
can
another
people?
question.
Yes, we
Joanna
have
has a question.
Joanna Azevedo. How to deal with aggressive behavior? I think you are already excited to answer this, Ryan. Right? My dog is 10 months old and American staff, and every time she sees any other animal outside, dog, cat, bird, rabbit, etc., she becomes very aggressive.
So this is not in the scope of the masterclass, but I'm still happy to answer. So it is and it isn't, right? Like the body language is obviously part of it, but really what we're getting into is like behavior change and more of the play therapy stuff. And I love to work with reactivity. So Joanna, I hope that you know what the look game is. But the look game fundamentally creates a behavior chain where your dog glances at the other dog or whatever it is that's getting her to display distance increasing behaviors, right? Glance, and it should happen below the threshold of aversive stimulation. So here's the threshold of perception. Here's where I can see there's something there. Here's the threshold of aversive stimulation. And here is where I trigger. And so what you want to do is you want to work here between perception and the threshold of aversive stimulation. And that's your workspace. Once your dog is triggered, you can no longer modify the behavior because you already got the behavior that you don't want. So the dog's 10 months old, and I would say, again, maybe adolescent. I would encourage you to do a lot of self-control games like food bowl games and flying cookie games, lots and lots of self-control, fun stay games, not drilling the dog to stay in a boring way, but to do it in a playful way. So this dog learns a little more self-control, and then lots and lots of play when other dogs are nearby. I would start with other dogs actually moving away so that it's dogs moving away. That's not a threat. That's not something that worries me. I'm not concerned about that. Great. Let's play when the other dog moves away and then work parallel. And then the last thing I would do is have the dog approach.
Exactly. Perfect. That's really an important setup to address, because normally people try to go on the first try to the approach, and they don't understand that that should be the last one
Yeah.
to work, right?
In the presentation, we talk about approach, and approach is a really, really big deal. And it's really important to understand that approach sets us up to fail.
Yeah, we here in Dog Summit we already talk a little bit about how to approach, the best way to approach a dog and how the dog should approach another dog. We have that on previous classes here, but I know that that's something that people need to address a little bit more, because people don't really know how to do it, and they think that they know, but normally when they have aggressive or reactive dogs, that's when they say, okay, I really need to learn a little bit more about this topic. So that's really amazing that Joanna, for your question. She's already saying here also, thank you very much. It was an amazing question, and stay tuned because we will have lots of good stuff here that will probably help you. And also, Jessica, thank you very much for your answer as well. So we are already here, past 1 hour, 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we are always on time here with our lives because we never last longer than 1 hour and a half. So we are ready on time. So thank you very much, Angelica. I really, really appreciate your time. And I'm very, very excited.
One more
Yes, we
question.
have more questions. We have more questions.
Yeah,
If
one
you
more
have the
question.
time, we will stay here
Yes, I'll
instead.
do it.
Perfect, perfect. So my BT is generally very scared, and during our walks, she wants to run away from the most unleashed dog. Who approach or other dogs when they bark? Why is he so scared, and how can I change that?
BT, is that border terrier? Border terrier
I believe so.
or bull terrier?
Maybe.
Yeah. Generally very scared during our walks. He wants to run away from most. So, okay, so if your dog is leashed and the other dog is unleashed, that's a really bad scenario, right? The leash dog is going to feel very vulnerable. So you need to look at that. And what I would say is you need to avoid. Remember, we were talking about consent. Your dog is saying unleashed dogs no. So you need to honor that as the dog parent, as the mom. You need to honor that no and protect your dog from that scenario. So if the dog is a border terrier, maybe you can pick the dog up. If not, if the dog's too large, you can tuck behind cars, you can tuck behind buildings, you can tuck behind bushes, but you want to put yourself in a position where you create a barrier between you and the other dog. And avoid going to places where there's going to be an unleashed dog because it's scaring your dog. So you can't say, how can I change that? You have to accept that your dog is really afraid of that. It's like if you say to me, Angelica, I want you to be okay with, wait a minute, this spider. And I'm really scared of the spider. I'm not going to be okay with the spider. And you can't negotiate with me oh, but this spider should be okay. It's something that scares me, and fear is really, really incompatible with learning anything but fear. So when fear happens, we really need to stop it in order to stop the association of dog off leash fear, dog off leash fear. You have to break the cycle. I can't completely answer your question, but that can get you started.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, that's the main focus. Like breaking the association between seeing a dog unleashed and that instigating the fear in the dog. So that's the main focus. Uh, Joanna also said here, I already identify easily when she'll trigger and correct her, and now she barks and sits next to me, which is already an improvement. But I will try play games when they move away.
Yes,
So
and I would say, Joanna, don't correct her. There's a difference between telling her it's an undesired behavior, which it's really not, because she's just communicating, and communication can never be undesired. We have to create an environment for our dogs where all communication is safe, even the one that's embarrassing to us. My heart breaks that it's embarrassing, but please, please try to think of any sort of communication as a gift, and it's something that we should thank our dogs for, and it's not something that we want to correct. So really the key is to avoiding the triggers.
yeah, I think you touch in an amazing topic right here because when we talk about aggression, sometimes people have the tendency of correcting the dog when they show the teeth, or when they growl, when they move towards the dog, when they say like, just leave me alone, and
Yeah.
they are communicating their feelings to us and to the other dog. And if we correct the dog, we are stripping away his ability to say what he's feeling.
Yeah.
So when we do that, the next step for the dog is not to give these signals and then to pass on to the bite right away. So we decrease the threshold of the
Yeah.
dog
It could
aggression.
happen. You know, it
Yeah.
depends on the dog. But yeah, that is the worst possible outcome, and that's something we definitely want to work against.
Yeah. So that was one of the main things that I remember that I've been talking to you and to other trainers. That so we
Yeah.
should never correct a dog's ability to communicate his feelings.
Yeah.
Never, because
Yeah.
that's, like you said, that's a gift. That's his way of talking to us, and that's his way of saying I like this or I did not like this. So it's better for us to try to control the environment and the triggers, like you said, instead of the reactions, because we still want that, we still need them, the
Yeah.
reaction of the dog, so we can see if it's something that he liked or he didn't like.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing thing. You want to compliment?
I just wanted to say the most dangerous dogs I've worked with are the ones that have been shocked for displaying growling, barking, lunging, and they get this glazed look in their eyes like nobody's home. And they're just like, I'm fine, but you know that they're not fine. And it's really hard once you have managed to get rid of the emotional signals to get them back. So it's so much easier to thank our dogs for them and just avoid those situations, and then gradually teach them in setups, in safe setups, that they can be okay with things, and then maintain that safety by only having them, you know, play with dogs that you know are going to be good play partners.
That's an amazing answer, because I had a couple of situations that it happened right in the weekend with Lobito. I was walking the Lobito in on a leash, and another dog came by from behind, and of course Lobito reacted, right, because the dog came from behind. It was like
Yeah.
not being friendly, and Lobito reacted. And there was an old woman from across the street, and she started yelling, saying, "Oh, that's an aggressive dog, you should not be here, blah 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 blah," all of those not so friendly phrases. But
Mhm.
then I started thinking on that situation. It's like, I will never correct Lubito, because he was right. He was just like here, relaxing, enjoying his walk, and the other dog, he was not friendly at all. So that was his way of saying, "Shoo, get the hell out of here because I'm enjoying my walk." So
Yeah,
I didn't.
and
Yes,
what if it was a person thing, right? Like
yeah,
what if you were walking along and I suddenly jumped out behind you and went, bah!
yeah, or just gave me a
Well,
slap
that's
or
not
something
very
like that.
nice.
Yeah,
That's not very friendly. You know, like
exactly.
we expect our dogs to tolerate things that are not okay. And so, you know, I know that in your country, I used to live in Europe myself, that there's a lot of off leash dogs, and you know, it's just a reality. But I personally would just not walk my dog where I'm going to encounter a dog off leash.
Yeah.
Here, most dogs are leashed, but in some neighborhoods, still people will let their dogs off leash. And my response is I exercise my dogs on my property. I just don't risk it, because all it takes is one really bad experience, guys, and your dogs can be changed forever. It's not worth it. So
Yeah.
please, please protect your fur children.
That's exactly what happened with Lubito when he was 9 months. Okay, it was an unleashed dog that came by and just changed him a little bit. So Joanna also said, "Oh, amazing! Never thought like this." But then I'm not sure I got how I should react. I just hold her and wait, and then play with her. I think that this is when you said not to correct.
Yeah. So if she is, say if she has growled, I would redirect her. I would say, "Hey, over here." Give her something else to do. One of my favorite behaviors is a hand target. So I call that nose, and I'll just go nose and give my dog like a separate job. If your dog doesn't know a hand target, you just say, come over here and do a sit. And it's just something else, and then you play. So you still unfortunately had maybe the growl in there, but as you learn to see the precursors, you'll get earlier and earlier, and ultimately you'll be able to do it before the growl. And then that's your best case scenarios, to get the play and happiness and the party going before the growl happens.
Exactly. Great answer. Great answer. So I have Jessica here also saying, should I have a special considerations because of having two males living together now? The bull terrier is not castrated, neither the puppy, obviously. We are going to, next week, we are going to have a holistic veterinary talking exactly on castrating and pros and cons and alternatives. So just to leave
Yeah,
that.
I think I defer to that person. It just from a behavior standpoint, I would say it really depends, right? How are your dogs with other intact males? So if they're used to intact males, here in America, most dogs are neutered. So if you have an intact male, it can sometimes be like your dog has a kick me sign on them because all the other dogs are going, why do you smell weird? You smell weird. I don't like how you smell, right? But if your dogs are used to being intact, being whole, not being castrated, and they seem to be okay with each other, then I don't see a reason to change that. I think the much bigger issue is that we want their interactions to be positive. We want their interactions to be playful or at least neutral. And then lots and lots of sharing games, lots and lots of, you get a cookie, you get a cookie, you get a cookie, you get a cookie. You play tug, you play tug. Or what I'm doing with my puppy and my adult dog is I have my puppy playing tug here and I have my adult dog playing here. And I'm playing with both of them, and it's a really good upper body workout too. But it teaches them to be in close proximity and that good things happen.
Exactly. Joanna, thank you very much on your answer. And then Sonia, she is asking, my 2-month-old puppy stays terrified when he sees people. Can I do anything? Of course you can, Sonia.
Yeah. I'm so sorry that's happening. It breaks my heart. 2 months old. Okay. I would say to you, Sonia, if you do nothing else, please, I'm begging you on my knees, buy Eileen Anderson and Marge Rogers' brand new book called Puppy Socialization. It has all the answers you need. It will guide you. It will help you. It will have video links in it. It is an amazing, amazing book. Eileen Anderson and Marge Rogers have written a masterpiece. Dunbar's book is good. This is the book right here, Puppy Socialization, guys. It is, if you're a professional trainer, please, please, please recommend it. If you're a dog mom and you have a 2-month-old puppy, it is like you want to get it to you as fast as possible. If I could give you my copy, I would give it to you right now.
That was the declaration of love right away. If I could send you my copy, I would send it right away. Thank you very much, Angelica. That's how it should be. And this is like the perfect nugget saying how lovely you are and how passionate you are about helping people and helping dogs. That's why we love working with you, because we are doing this not because of our of a standpoint, but because you really love what you do. And that's like the major thing about being successful and being happy on what you are doing. Is like you don't work, you just do what you love. So that's the main importance of being happy and successful.
Yeah.
Well,
And Sonia, if you have any more questions, um, you know, Dog Summit knows how to get a hold of me. You can contact me. I will help you. If the book isn't enough, I'm here for you. Okay? Because your puppy's too young for this to be happening. So I am here for you. I will help you. Oh, he's rescued. Oh.
yes, yes. So also we have Lucinda here saying for Sonia to read Ian Dunbar's books. So he's also a good professional as well.
Yes.
He's science-based training, right? So, but this is a tough situation when he's 2 months old, so he still has lots of socialization windows. So, Sonia, you have plenty of work to do. So you are still in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
You have
And the
plenty of
puppies,
work to do.
I'm sorry.
No, no, no,
Sorry.
go for it.
The puppy socialization book addresses, like, the Dunbar books are very good, but this socialization book addresses exactly what is happening with you and this puppy, this rescue puppy. So that book is like going to be like written for you.
Viral. Perfect. So, Sonia, if you want to know, it's puppy socialization. I'm going to share the screen one more time. So, if you didn't have the time to check it out, puppy socialization, what is it, what it is, and how to do it from Marge Rogers and Eileen Anderson. Okay, so get a copy of this. And then you can just go to your Instagram, post an Insta story saying that Angelica Steinker from at Dog Summit said for you to read this book, and then you can share your knowledge with our with other people, and in here with all of our members, you can just tell us how this book changed your life and your puppy's life. So thank you very much. And before I say anything else, is there any more questions? Is there any more questions? Because we are going to end this live. So if you have the last question, just go and write it very quickly on the chat so I don't miss out anything. But if there are any more questions, again, I will say thank you very much, Angelica. You are a well of wisdom. You are a well of wisdom, and I'm so happy that we have the opportunity to have this course and this masterclass with you on puppy and no on dogs communication and emotions, and then we are going to do play therapy, and then we're going to do a lot of good things for next year as well. So I'm so happy that I have the opportunity to be working with such a renowned professional as you, and I know that a lot of people here also loved it as well. I have Jessica here. No question, just a big Portuguese obrigada. Obrigada means thank you in Portuguese. So,
Thank you for the thank you.
and I think Sonia, she will buy the book. She will buy the book. Sonia,
Let me
please.
know how it goes. I need to know. Send me
Exactly.
pictures of the little guy.
Exactly. Just send us an Instagram story, tag Dog Summit, ok? Faz aí story no Instagram at Dog Summit underscore official, and I will send to Angelica. And if Angelica wants, she will send you an audio or a message, and I will send it to you again. So thank you very much, Angelica, for your time, and everybody that was here saying questions, asking questions, and saying and sending very much love to Angelica. Before Angelica goes away, I'm just going to ask to everybody that is here watching, just send some love to Angelica here on the chat. We are going to say goodbye to her, and then we are going to see her again on the 2nd of June. 2nd of June is going to be the first part of our canine language and communication and emotions. So I'm very eager for that day. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a 2-hour masterclass with Angelica Steinker, and then we are going to see her for 3 weeks in a row. And I just wanted to ask you, Angelica, you want to talk a little bit more about the assignments and the homeworks that we are going to have? Just tiny little bit so people know
Oh,
what they
I'm
can
going
expect.
to I'm going to take an organic approach. I want the people to tell me, like, say, if Sonia is there, tell me how this little guy is doing. Let's bring, like, the real life situations in, answer questions, and kind of use the students to help guide the course.
Exactly. So if you are interested in this topic, this is the way to go, and this is an amazing opportunity to interact for a whole 3 weeks of opportunity. So I have here also Tony. Thank you so much, Angelica and Dog Summit. Excellent. Marta, she's also saying thank you so much, Angelica and Dog Summit. Another great class. And Angelica, thank you from the bottom of my heart, from your time. I know that you are full of work and lots of schedule activities as well there. So thank you very much for your time, and we will see ourselves again on the 2nd of June. So thank you very much, people, and Angelica, we will talk soon. Okay?
Sounds great. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
So, people, I hope you enjoy it. Angelica, she's already writing me here some messages. I'm just answering you here. She's already sending me some love. Ok, perfeito. Ela está a dizer que adorou imenso. Portanto, eu quero agradecer também a todos que estão desse lado. Também tenho aqui agora a Joana a dizer thank you very much for this. I'm loving the experience. Joana, obrigado nós por estares desse lado. E por estares aqui a assistir este conteúdo. Espero então que vocês também estejam juntos connosco na nossa Masterclass que nós vamos ter na Dog Summit. Se vocês tiverem alguma informação, já sabem, podem ir aqui a este link para ir buscar mais informações sobre a nossa academia. Nós vamos ter agora muitas coisas maravilhosas a acontecer. Vamos ter cursos com a Angélica, vamos ter cursos também com outros treinadores internacionais. Vocês podem dar essa vista de olhos nas nossas redes sociais, no nosso canal Telegram, no nosso Instagram. Temos lá todas as informações que vocês quiserem. Vão a ver, vocês vão adorar o conteúdo que nós temos. É para tutores, é para treinadores, é para pessoas que querem saber um bocadinho mais sobre a sua relação com cães, e de certeza que nós vamos conseguir impactar muitas pessoas e conseguir ajudar muitos cães no processo, que é todo esse o nosso objetivo, ok? O conhecimento é para ser divulgado, não é para nós simplesmente ficarmos aqui cheios de conhecimento e isso não nos serve nada. O importante é pôr o conhecimento a trabalhar para a nossa comunidade, para conseguirmos verdadeiramente impactar a vida das pessoas e a vida dos nossos cães. E é essa a missão e é aquilo que nós estamos a tentar fazer com a Dog Summit. Portanto, mais uma vez, a todos que estiveram desse lado, muito obrigado a todos que estiveram desse lado. A Maribel está aqui a dizer que eu vou ter que esperar pelas legendas. Maribel, não te preocupes, vai haver legendas, portanto, todos os conteúdos que não forem em português vão estar legendados, portanto, vai ser fantástico e vais conseguir entender tudo ao pormenor, não te preocupes. Através da nossa plataforma de Hotmart, vocês vão poder aceder a isso no computador, no telemóvel, em todo lado, portanto, não se preocupem com isso. Maribel pergunta, quando fica disponível na academia? Maribel, nós fazemos a Masterclass, ok? Fazemos as aulas e passado 24 horas, 48 horas no máximo, ok? Já vai lá estar e já vai ter as legendas automáticas logo disponíveis. Portanto, independentemente disso, convido-te para assistir na live, para poderes ter a oportunidade também de interagir lá. Depois podes ver a gravação com as legendas para entenderes um bocadinho melhor, caso haja lá alguma coisa que tu não entendas, ok? Portanto, espero que toda a gente tenha gostado e já sabem onde é que nos podem encontrar. Qualquer dúvida, qualquer questão, façam aí no Instagram ou no @dogsummit_oficial, falem connosco, façam um story, digam quem é que vocês são, que nós queremos mesmo saber quem é que vocês são desse lado. E qualquer dúvida, já sabem onde nos podem encontrar. Gostamos muito de vocês e até para a semana, malta. Wow.